He's Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson. This is not another shooting show. We go to Alexandria, Virginia, where police there suspect that a man in Old Town last month likely shot himself. Police responded to an incident back on October 8th after receiving reports of 6 to 8 shots fired and an 18-year-old male with a gunshot wound to the thigh. Police now suspect the man fired at himself while fleeing the scene.
What the fuck?
I'm going to read that sentence again. Police now suspect the man fired at himself while fleeing the scene. I think that was a extra worded way of just saying he accidentally shot himself. The thigh wound was, quote, frequently consistent with a self-inflicted wound sustained by the individual attempting to place a firearm back into or out of their waistband, according to the affidavit. The search warrant affidavit, that is. Security footage from the incident shows 2 people in hooded sweatshirts and face masks walk into a playground area, fire multiple shots westbound, and flee the scene going east. One suspect then took an item from his waist and raised his arms in a manner consistent with someone firing a handgun. Approximately 5 bright flashes are seen coming from his raised arms, consistent based on your affiance, training, and experience, blah, blah, blah. At around the same time, a window also was shot out of a rental office, about 450 feet from where the shots were fired. Yikes. Police found ring camera footage of the man who was shot entering a nearby apartment complex. They say he resembled one of the suspects who fired the gun in the courtyard. The man who was shot was later transported to a hospital where he told police he was walking into the metro station with a friend who he refused to identify. He advised that he reached the courtyard area. God, this is longer than I realized. Anyway, so he shot himself. No arrests have been made, but investigation is ongoing.
Yeah, that normally we deal with the articles like two sentences. This one's like, no, we're going to write a whole.
Oh wait, I just
book.
saw another great sentence here. Okay, when a detective challenged the man on his story, he allegedly told police he was fired upon and returned fire. He also said that, quote, someone shot him and he did not shoot himself, and then requested an attorney.
That was a smart move. Yes.
Yeah. I quit reading one paragraph too early because it got better. I don't really, usually, like you said, these stories are shorter, but whenever, this is something from my radio days when we had to write these stupid articles for our blog posts or whatever for content. You just want more words because then it's longer because then more ads pop up.
Yep.
And you get more pages, actually. It isn't just like the one whole page. It's like page after page after page from scrolling. I hated that life. It sucks so bad. On that note, we have a guest on the show this week. A guy neither of us knew before yesterday. Would that be accurate, Jeff?
I believe so.
Okay. Mr. Wiley Brown from Oklahoma. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So, Jeff, you met this dude yesterday and texted me today, hey, we should have this guy on tonight. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. So I went down to Oklahoma with the gang, and we shot the Oklahoma section, no brakes, all speed, red dirt, something. It was the longest name for a match I think I've ever signed up for.
Oklahoma section USPSA Red Dirt Rumble All Gas No Brakes Championship. That's a mouthful.
Quite the mouthful. So we had a very, very, very eventful day, and so I thought, because this is Wiley's home range. Well, is it your home range or is it?
No, just home section.
Home
I'm
section.
Tulsa. That's in Oklahoma City.
Gotcha. But so I've only been to this range once before, and my experience was interesting, and this one was also interesting. So I thought we could have a fun conversation around the 15 stages that we shot that not everybody
15
shot.
stages?
Yes.
For a section match?
Yes.
Aggressive. Okay.
In one day after daylight savings.
One day post daylight savings. Yeah.
Yeah, you can already tell where this fun one's going. But
Okay.
I thought start with we had for all the interesting stuff that happened, we had the best crew of people to have an interesting day with.
Hands down, could not have picked 20 better people to have an interesting day with.
Wait a second. 20?
Yes.
18-man squads and one traveling CRO.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw it out here early. Luke Elwood, best CRO I have ever dealt with ever. If you can get him to work your match, do, because he is absolutely fantastic and he loves to work matches. So like he has a big goal. He wants to RO at the World Shoot. So let's make that happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hands down, best RO ever.
Yes.
Took frag on multiple occasions. Didn't complain. Like multiple occasions.
Took frag?
Yeah.
Yeah, like off poppers constantly.
The poppers were they had seen some life. They had needed to be retired. It's like some of them, one looked like it had been shot with a slug, and the other one looked like it had been shot from the back with a slug.
Were they sort of like the bent over backwards, or like I just got punched in the stomach sort of looking poppers?
Bent over backwards.
Yep. Yeah. So
I don't even know what causes that.
No, I assumed it was a multi-gunner shooting it with a slug, but
that range doesn't have any multi-gun.
Oh, that's super interesting, because
it's not as of recent.
The range is fascinating because it has 8 cowboy action bays. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So I think it has 8 or 10 cowboy action and then 6 action pistol. Then we just bleed off into them. And that you saw like 1/4 of the range. That range is an entire section. They have rifle bays, everything. It's honestly a really cool range.
Yeah.
What is the range?
Oklahoma City Gun Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just Googling trying to guess and I found it.
Yeah. So that, because we accidentally almost pulled into there's just a shotgun only range and a rifle only range. But yeah, they have an entire cowboy action setup, and so while we were waiting for people to shoot, some people were sitting on the saddles that were left on the base.
And through all the effort that cowboy action shooters go into to make it historically correct, they're wearing the right clothes, got the right guns. Every single one of them was pushing a baby stroller to carry their guns around.
Oh, they should have like a wagon and a horse.
Yes.
Yeah. It should be a donkey. You got to have a donkey.
Yeah.
Or at least just carrying it on some sort of donkey or horse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like just make it out of wood to where it doesn't look like it's from 2025.
Because there was a half a dozen of them actually shooting. I don't know if it was a match or if it was like a practice, because they just leave the steels up in the bay.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
the slideshow on the Gun Club website, one of them was, I can't control the slideshow, unfortunately. It was a bunch of people in World War II Army garb shooting an M1 Grand match.
Nice.
Like, that's dedication. I've shot Grand matches before, but nobody was wearing,
full kit,
a metal helmet or, OD green fatigues or anything like that.
Jeff might remember it. So it was our third bay, the berm, and it's way taller than all the other ones. And I think it's the back of their 1,000-yard range where they host those.
Is that the one with the vagina?
The one with the vagina.
Wait, somebody posted a photo. I don't know if they were at this match or not. Posted a picture on our Reddit over the weekend of up on the berm. It was like, it sort of looks like one of those Instagram videos you see where it's a rock formation and it may look like female genitalia.
I don't think no
was
that
that
wasn't
not at this match.
No, that was a different one.
My bad. Never mind. I'll shut up now.
Disregard. So also the weather was beautiful. Like, we were blessed by the shooting gods because it was like 45, 50 in the morning when we were starting, and it got up to like 72, 74. And then when we finished, it was starting to get cold again. So that the stages, some were actually kind of fun.
15 was a really fun stage.
What was fun about it? What was the?
It was just a really flowy. I love that, like a stage that you can flow on really well.
They did a really good job of making a lot of them did flow pretty effectively if you got the timing down. And they try to do a lot of short courses, which are actually kind of fun when your gun works. But I may or may not have told Wiley that you don't need to change out slide stops because they never break. And then 7 stages in, at first I thought I was having an Andy problem where I was barneying around and it was always giving me kind of a malfunction. Like I always felt like it was after that first round. So I was like, oh, maybe I did that thing Andy does. And so I loaded up just my, a normal 17 round CZ mag, and it did it to me like 3 times. And I was like, I'm fucking done with this. So I actually called the RM over and just officially switched guns. And, there was no chrono. So I just went over the safety table. I was like, yep, see 2 Shadow 2s. And when I looked down at the practice or my match gun, I could see a gap between the slide stop and the frame. And I was like, oh, fuck, it broke. That's what it was.
So you put it out in the universe and then it happened to you.
Yes.
That one's been hard.
Yeah. So
don't put that out into the universe.
Don't put it in the universe. And
change your slide stop.
Also, Vince Drink, he told me the buffers are good. If you use a buffer in a CZ, you'll probably never have to replace a slide stop.
10-pound recoil springs in Shadow 2s destroy slide stops.
Well,
anything heavier than that, I don't have a problem with it.
Well, Jeff doesn't know what weight his recoil spring is, so I won't bother to ask him.
I mean, whatever weight it is after 20,000 rounds, that weight.
A 10 eats dots and slide stops bad.
You know what also really wrecks things is when you spit take bourbon up your nose. That's really unpleasant. Jesus Christ. This is awful, you guys.
That sounds terrible.
My eyes are watering right now. Because when you said whatever it weighs after 20,000 rounds, that just struck me funny because I have springs that are like, oh yeah, that's a 13-pound spring, or at least it was when I bought it,
Yep.
Oh Jesus.
And ow, this is not fun. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So we might as well jump into some of the more interesting parts of the match. That like I said, we had our favorite CRO, Luke. He was with us the entire day. He traveled with us.
That's interesting. I've not heard of that at a major before. So were you guys running your own tablet?
Yes. So Oklahoma is unfortunately notorious for having 0 ROs. Oklahoma City will have 130 people and 20 USPSA members. It's crazy.
Wow.
That's super interesting. Is that like...
I don't know if it's a club culture thing or what, but like even when we hosted it in Tulsa, trying to get ROs to come to Oklahoma was just a nightmare.
Wow.
That's super interesting. So we were calling scores, and luckily our squad, like I said, a bunch of fantastic people. I think the vast majority of us were A's and M's, so like we all kind of trusted each other, and so like there was a couple moments where someone would like pace a target, and I was like, what was that? And they're like, Alpha Charlie. I'm like, cool. I mean, it's not the best way to do it, but like they didn't go like.
Well, if it's how the match is being run, it's how it's being run.
Yeah, it was like that for everyone.
If everybody's an RO, then everybody's an RO. You know.
So that was a new experience, and again, because we were in an awesome squad, we just kept we were just trucking through. Like we ran into the squad in front of us over and over and over again.
On stage 2.
Yes.
Is when it started. We started running into them on stage 2.
Yep. And then
Meaning your second stage?
Yes.
Yep. And by stage 4 or 5, there was some massive did we ever figure out what the problem was?
Yes. Oh. So they put 2 activators and a speed chute. So it was 10 pieces of steel or 8 pieces of steel. 2 of them were activators, and then there was 2 swinging targets, and then a 12-round short course in front of it.
Oh, in the same bay?
In the same bay.
Oh, yeah. Just the speed shoot with all the steel and activators. That would have been one stage in there.
100%. Yes. Took forever to reset, and then I guess something happened with the activator breaking.
Well, activators breaking, that can do it too. Like that's
is what it is.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things that I would say they didn't do properly was they had a lot of double bays, which I'm not against double bays. I like short courses.
I'm a big fan.
We only had one tablet and one RO, and so we could only run our 18-man squad through one short course, pack up all of our shit, go to the next one, run through that one, instead of 2 9-man squads shooting this. Or it kind of
even staying hot would have worked.
Staying hot could have worked.
Shoot the next one.
Right, but then you have to switch between the 2 stages
the
while you're
switching
scoring.
is a pain in the balls, though, especially if you don't have one person just doing it.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
And so that and also we could have done, so spoiler, the match went to dark. Like we finished shooting our last stage by the lights of Luke's Miata. He pulled his Miata into the bay.
Into a bay, and we shot a stage under the headlights of Miata. Never would have bet money that was something I ever did. Right.
So that was a very new experience that I'm not unhappy that it's a fun story. If it ever happens again, I'm going to throw a shit fit. But so we also were running into on that double bay.
The wind was the worst.
Oh yeah, the what,
like Area 3 wind, or
yeah, and these poppers were not calibratable.
Yeah, you couldn't adjust them. No adjustments. They were set, and then it was what it was.
Yep. It didn't have the ability to be adjusted?
No.
Oh.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
They may have put like a piece of lath or something under one of them, but
we're putting rocks under the back of them to try and prop them up, but that was all they could do.
Yep. So we had 9 reshoots on one of the bays.
It was a lot.
Yeah, because it got to the point where people were shooting the back, and then there was a stomp pad that was like it worked about 80% of the time, and then but there was like a big popper in the back that you'd shoot the back of the bay, and you just watch that one fall down, and you're like, well, shit. It happened. I don't know if anyone had to reshoot it twice, but I know.
No, I don't think anyone had to reshoot it twice.
But it was frustrating, or it was okay, make ready as gun is going into holster, steel fall down, and we're like, God damn it. And then you get to do the whole put your hands above your head and shake them like you just don't care, while your buddy runs down the bay.
I want to keep a pair of handcuffs on me and just have them handcuff me next time somebody wants to make me do some of that dumb fucking gymnastics. Put your hands above your head. No.
Right.
I'm just going to stand here with the gun in my holster and I won't touch it. How about that?
Right. I'm an adult.
Jesus Christ. I fucking hate that.
It's such a weird thing that we do.
It is.
It is. It's so weird.
But so yeah, we because we were so efficient,
it made it worse.
It made it worse. We kept running into the squads in front, and I tried to advocate that they should shoot one of the double bay stages, and we shoot the other double bay stage. So there'd be 36 people on one bay trying to shoot. But someone was like, "Oh, the squad in the next bay, which was going to be our last bay, they are shooting like their last couple of shooters." And so and the squad in front of us was finishing the first of two stages, and so we jumped in front and shot the entirety of one stage. And just like, there was an energy at that point where we were all, because the sun was starting to go down, we all knew that, like, we had to fucking ball out, and the energy made everyone shoot like an asshole, and it was hilarious.
The most fun I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh,
we were such a good time.
We were so amped up. Like, there was no fucks to give. It was like, no one was questioning calls. No one, like, you do the scoring RO just like would meet you during the unload and show clear. You'd go score the front three targets, and boom, next person up. And it was a
sprinting to reset steal. Like, yep. It was insane.
Right. We actually had like no breaks. We were just pedal to the metal. And it was weird how infectious the energy was, because every single shooter went balls to the wall. It was fantastic. Oh, excuse me. So we shot one of the stages, and we were about to start shooting the next one when the squad the next squad came up behind us, or I forget, but I was like, hey, we have to go back and start shooting those ones because this is our last bay. Like, this is where we end. So we go back, we start shooting, and we may or may not have been following USPSA rules at that time, because they had allegedly they had a drop turner that didn't really work that well. And it was set up in such a way that the way you would have to take it, you had to plan around doing it. The majority of us were like, we're not even planning on taking it. So we just didn't reset it, which was good, because everyone who did, or there's about 5 or 6 people who were like, no, I want you to set it. I'm going to take it. It worked for 2 of them, I believe.
Yeah, it worked for 2 people on the first run. It was absolutely insane. And I just looked, 2 people in the top 10 on that stage shot the drop turner.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really bad. And then the stage behind that one was also at a drop turner, and it was a little short course. And we blitzed through that one pretty quick, and as the sun was going down, so we popped over, and that's when Luke brought his Miata in and was just blasting light into the bay, which was helpful but also hurt a little bit because the light wasn't consistent. And so on one side of the wall, you're like, I'm in complete darkness. On the other side of the wall, you're like, no, my dot is bled out. But
that's even like the lights at my club, though, because there's only like one light shining into each bay.
Yep.
So it creates total shadows on the other side. So that's a little problematic, but it's better than pitch black.
Right.
Significantly.
Yeah.
And it had 4 mini poppers. So you're trying to shoot mini poppers that are in the dark with a shadow, and then your dot covers the entire thing from top to bottom.
One bad thing that kind of happened is the squad that was shooting the bay I talked about with the drop turner, they were unable to complete the stage before sundown, and the range required them to stop shooting. So they had to throw out the stage because it got dark.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you guys managed to squeeze it in, but then the last squad couldn't, so they had to pitch it.
Yep, gone.
Yep. So,
whoa.
That was, I mean, I took a mic on that stage, but, so I wasn't upset about it, but it definitely changed some places. 'Cause Wiley, weren't you above somebody, and then when they took that stage out, they were above you?
No, the guy that won got second in the match won that stage and ended up second in the match by like a rounding error.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's a good buddy of mine, so yeah.
He might be a little, just a
that
little
would
annoying.
be rage-inducing.
So, what? There were a couple things about the match that I think that they'd probably need, like everything we've talked about are kind of, hey, for people running majors, there's a reason we do the things the way we do them. I would say a 12-man squad is about a reasonable number for a major.
Perfect.
Well, there are lots of majors that run 15-man squads just fine. Like Cornhusker's always 15, I'm pretty sure.
Isn't Free State 15 too?
I believe so, yeah. Most of them, I think most majors around here are like 15.
Okay.
I'm kind of the only one who's been the stickler at 12. I think, did we do 12 or 13 at Great Plains this past year? I don't know.
Okay, so 15.
Somewhere between 12 and 15 is sort of the sweet spot, yeah.
Yeah. So 18 to 20. There's just too many people and not enough activity happening.
Don't they run a little bigger at Iowa though, don't they? Because every bay is a double bay.
Yeah, I think
That's different though.
right.
Like,
yeah, they don't have a choice.
there's
and
only
they can
5 squads shooting a day, or 5 or 6 or something like that.
Yeah. The 10 stages, like that is as many as you can do it in a one-day match. Like,
Yes.
don't at that point make
Disagree.
it a 2-day. I mean, if
We do 11 or 12 every year at Great Plains, and it's just
Was-
fine.
I thought it was a good idea until the staff shot Area 4. They shot 16 stages in one day.
That's dumb.
This was before the time change, and every single one of those guys was ready to die. It's just too much.
Yeah,
Yep.
16 in one day is absolutely too much.
lane,
And the stages at Area 4 were monster stages.
well, and to Andy's point, if you are running a lot of short courses, kind of IPSC style, you can do more stages as long as you have the
Well, you don't have to
personnel.
do a lot. You just have to do 1 or 2. You know, like if you're like Great Plains always is 2 zones.
Yeah.
And so there's like the zones finish basically at the same time. There might be a backup if one of the stages is shorter, but that like a backup on a stage in a zone doesn't matter as long as the zones finish at the same time,
Right.
you know? So
Correct.
that's really all that matters. But like most years we've done 12 stages at Great Plains, but
Yeah.
it's with usually if there's 12, there's at least one double. Yeah, it's one double bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was a 32-round field course. Next bay would have a 12-round course and a 20-round course. So every bay, it was back and forth like that, and every bay was 32 rounds.
And you can do that, but one of those stages better reset quick as hell.
Yes.
Like real fast. Like there's 4 paper targets, you go out and you paste them and it's over. That's sort of why some of the stages at Area 3 were a little potato on the short courses, because one of them was like the fun one and the other one was the potato one that we just reset fast, you know, which
Yeah.
if I spent more time designing it, maybe they could have been cooler, but anyway.
Well, one thing that this range did that I'm going to 100% call them out for, they had 2 bathrooms and no doors on the shitter.
What?
0 doors.
Zero doors. I may or may not have said hello to Lark at a very surprised moment.
Oh,
I just walked in and I was like, fuck, a curtain, what the fuck? I open it and I see a small Asian man in it and immediately close it. And he goes, Jeff! I was like, oh, Lark!
I think the best part is Jeff could probably see over the wall.
Well, but I can't see
like a
his
6-foot
feet
wall.
under it. Right, but I can't see his feet under it.
so was it just like you walk around a corner and there's the toilet? Is that how
Yes.
this was? Sort of like
Yeah.
at a swimming pool changing room or something like that, where you just go through the maze and then there's the shitter.
No, there's no maze. It's just a curtain.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's a quote unquote stall. So like when you walk in the door, you're looking at the stall.
oh, so this is like their
wall of the
permanent
stall.
bathroom on the base.
Yes. Yeah, this is they had a men's and a women's, and they had 1 toilet and 2 urinals, and it was like Well, we only have 208 shooters, so this will go well. But there's another one about a mile down the bays at the Cowboy Action Club. Because,
So, in other words, there was only one.
Yes. And so I highly recommend, a shitter for every 2 bays is about
You don't need. It depends on how far apart the bays are. Like, we don't have very many at Great Plains because the bays are really compact. They're all like 5 of the bays are really 6 of the bays are all in one spot. We add 2 porta potties there, and then we add one. We add. Do we put them both there? Yeah, we put them both there, and then there's the 2 permanent ones. So we only get 2 extra ones, but what is it, like 300 yards from one end of the range to the other?
Yeah.
Oh, this is way further than that.
Yeah. No, like at Area 3 this year, like we should have had more because it was such a, it's like just because you can see the porta potty doesn't mean it's close.
Right.
That was actually something we talked about in our little after action meeting with the Game Fish and Parks guys was that, we could use more toilets. That would have been good.
Yep.
But and as big as that range is, 1 every 2 is probably the way to go for sure.
Yeah, you'd almost have to because they're just such giant bays.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of a little range problem. I did have a negative interaction with one of the match staff. I don't know anyone down there. So there was one bay where there was a target at like 210 degrees that was clearly visible from a position that at the time I thought you had to go to. And then I walked off that bay, went to the next bay, and they kind of rolled up in the gator, and I was like, hey, there's a really bad 180 trap on that stage over there. And his response was, well, don't DQ. And I was like, now I'm annoyed. I'm really fucking annoyed, dude. Because as a match director or match staff or whoever the fuck this person was, your job is customer service. That's what you're doing.
Yes.
And if a competitor walks up to you, I'm kind of noticeable. So there's a part of me that's like, whatever. But I was just a dude walking around in a t-shirt, whatever. If someone walks up to you and is like, hey, there's that stage is illegal because of this problem, you should probably at least hear them out or see what the problem is, not just dismiss it. I found that very condescending.
Yeah.
And
you know what I've kind of a trick, like if you're running a match, it's really stressful and you put your heart and soul into a match and then all of a sudden there's a problem and someone points it out and you really just kind of want to be like, well, fuck you. However, there's always nothing's ever perfect either.
Right.
And after having done this for a while now, I know that it's not always perfect. So I actually will just stop on my way to the range. I did this every day at Area 3. Something's going to be wrong. Oh, okay. We'll go check that out. Just prepare yourself for the criticism. It's not personal. They're just pointing out something you may not have noticed. And
it's impossible to notice everything. I mean, it was 15 stages.
It absolutely is impossible to notice everything.
Of a match.
And if you don't have someone completely independent, that's the best thing about having the range master come in after. I when we at Area 3 at the 270 bay, when Scott was saying, had concerns about that stage, and I could tell Bruce doesn't get real wound up, but for Bruce, he was pretty wound up.
Yeah.
And I basically had already, I don't know if this has nothing to do with it necessarily, but I had already prepared myself for when Scott gets there, he's going to change stuff that we worked hard on. Or he's going to want to change things and just be prepared for that. And because he's the independent guy who comes in and goes, hey, did you guys see this? We should do this. Blah, blah, blah. That's a good thing. You
Yep.
know, like be okay with that. And, you know, if there's a target at 210, throw a barrel up if it doesn't actually change the stage.
Right, and that was kind of my biggest annoyance was all I was asking. That's what I was asking. It's like, hey, get a wall, get a barrel, get something to just vision barrier this, and
Yeah.
it's and everything's fine. But I was just completely dismissed, and I was like, motherfucker, because I did end up fucking up that stage, and you didn't have to go to that corner like I thought you did, so it didn't become an issue for me. But I did fuck up the stage because slide stop was starting to break, and I was super nervous at this match, and I don't really know why. But
Wait, before you explain to us why you were nervous at this match,
yes,
patreon.com/not another shooting show. It's only $3.57 a month, and you get all of our second episode every single week. Make sure you go check out our Reddit, r/NASS on Reddit. We have a hoot of a time in there. A guy sent me a message this week asking, hey, who is it that does the jerseys you guys always talk about? I say it every week. MW Activewear. But it's weird. She doesn't have a website. You have to go find her on Instagram. So MW_AKTIV_wear, like clothing wear, WEAR. MW is spelled the way you would think. She'll make the finest jerseys you have ever had for your match. And our first sponsored match of 2026, Jeff.
ooh,
Northwoods. I can't remember if it's shootout or showdown. That wasn't in Tanfo Timmy's text to me, but it's one or the other. It's on sale now on Practice Score. First place payouts for CO and LO start at $1,000. There's 4 half-day squads, which is a really cool thing. You can either shoot it all in one day, or you can shoot AM or PM.
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, super
Interesting.
cool way of doing that. It's a really good match. I shot it last year. It's a fantastic match. So that is on sale right now. It is May 2nd and 3rd, 2026, Forest Lake, Minnesota. All right, Jeff, why were you super nervous for this match?
I don't know. Because I got my first stage jitters, and that that's normal.
That's very normal, yes.
But I just couldn't break it. I don't know if it was because I was in a squad with, like, okay, this might sound a little pretentious. There was a lot of people in squad who knew me and I didn't know them, and so it's different than like shooting in front of my friends. And I don't know if that was something, or if
You mean guys like Wiley?
yeah, like,
Yeah.
because people were, yeah, I think it was Wiley that complimented me because he was like, "Oh, I like the show" or whatever, and I was like, "Yay, I know what to say right now." He goes, "You did a good job." I was like, thank you
Just
for
say
patting
thank
me
you.
on the head.
What's your name?
Correct. Sometimes I just need to pat on the head. But yeah, I don't really have a good excuse.
Was it because Adam Grimm made you feel insignificant, like you should be doing better at matches than you do?
That could also be the case. Yes, I mean, I did okay at this match. I wasn't super motivated to be there, but like I did okay, and so I'm trying to like continue that energy. But yeah, I was just struggling. So when I shot the semi illegal bay, Luke, because I basically he had to shoot mini steel through a really weird port. And the gun malfunctioned on me, of course. And so I got flustered, finished the course of fire, and didn't engage it. So I had one mic failure to shoot at. And Luke was like, "Are you going to arbitrate it and get it thrown out?" And I was like, "You know what? No, I'm not. I'm. It is what it is." So
Well, wait, what would you have arbitrated?
it was an illegal stage, like we talked about. 2
You would have to have arbitrated before you shot it. You can't arbitrate at an illegal stage and then shoot it. Like, if you shoot it, you've accepted the stage. You could arbitrate a call, like, I shot at that target, or a rule interpretation. But if you shoot the stage, you have accepted the stage. You can't arbitrate and say it was an illegal stage anymore. You would have to arbitrate before you shot it.
Oh, things we
Did not
learned.
know that.
Yeah. So if it's an illegal stage, arbitrate before.
Gotcha. See, that we're all educational now.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just
yeah.
learned that like a year ago. So it's not like I've known this for a long time either.
But Wiley, what it like? Because you're an M class. No,
I'm just
CO?
A class.
A class. CO.
You're from. Well, wait. We haven't even like met this guy. He's just like on the show. Like, who the fuck is Wiley Brown?
Just a dude that shoots a lot of USPSA and is mediocre at it.
So you've been shooting since. Oh, I already know. You've been a member since 22.
Yeah,
because I looked you up, and you haven't won a national championship yet. What a loser you are!
Definite downgrade from Adam Grimm.
So is everybody. Jesus. No, how'd you find the sport?
The USSA, it was actually like the range was built to hold nationals in Tulsa.
Oh, yeah.
I shot there every Sunday, walked over to the Bay Over because I heard some people shooting like psychos and was like, what is that? And then started shooting there and just kind of never quit.
Yep, that's similar to
take over my life.
That's similar to how I ended up finding it too. I heard I was shooting an M1 Garand match at Sioux River Sportsman's Club, the club where Robert Olson's club, Sioux Falls Practical Shooters, is. And behind it, I could have swore somebody's doing an MP5 demo or something back there because it was like the shots were just too fast.
Oh, like, I was a total Timmy at the time. Thought I knew everything there was to know about shooting, right? Yeah. And I walk over to the next bay, and he's a local GM now, was shooting a stage, and I watched him shoot, and I was like, there's no way he hit anything. Like, that's just not possible at all. And I think I talked to him about it afterwards. He was like, oh, yeah, I had like 2 Charlies on that. And I was like, oh, okay, this is different.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And so that was just like 3 years ago then for you?
Just 3 years ago for me. And I travel around a bunch of majors, internet friends with all the, Steven and whatnot. So in my defense, I told him that it was going to get backed up before the match happened. But yeah, no, just love shooting. So.
What shooting did you do before USPSA? Like you said, you were a Timmy.
Oh, like just the paper printout drills, anything that T-Rex posted, some Bear Solutions, all the good ones,
Did you shoot your first match in a battle belt?
100%.
Was it the super padded one?
No, mine was a 2-piece with some S-Tacs, still from a level 2. But I was shooting open minor, right? So I was shooting a Shadow Systems with a comp. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then, quickly transformed. It was like, I'm never going to win. These guys are shooting spaceships.
The first time I saw an open gun, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
It was so confusing. My first match, I squatted with this typical open shooter, 65 years old, shooting a $7,000 Atlas and 38 Super that just shakes your head every time he pulls the trigger. Yeah. And I was like, what is that thing?
I laughed so hard when you just said 65-year-old open shooter because at Nationals, I was squatted with Jim Boone. He's a little bit older than me. And as somebody said something about like, hey, when are you going to start shooting open? And I said, I'm not old enough to shoot open. And Jim's standing right next to me like, hey.
I figured it out, though. It's because you can finally afford it.
Well,
that's the reason.
Yeah.
Like,
that's certainly part of it.
I just can't afford it.
Well, it's the same thing with sports cars. When you can afford a sports car, you don't drive a sports car like a sports car is meant to be driven. And just like open.
Well, and also something you don't ever see, like a lot of the guys at my club are blue collar. None 100%. of them shoot open. None of them. One guy has dabbled, but he's also, he's got like more kids than I do. Jesus, no. But he also is like constantly swapping guns, like trading guns. Like he goes through them all, kind of a lot. He doesn't shoot open anymore, but he had a cup of coffee with it. But like when I think of the people who shoot open at my local clubs, like, yeah, they're all older guys who are not necessarily rich, but they're retired and, have a lot, they don't have kids in the house anymore. They have far more disposable income than they used to. So
100%.
That's
There's a few guys in my
I
club
had
that
children.
open guns that bust them out, once a year, and then just don't want to deal with it the other 11 months,
Oh, yeah.
Like, no one wants to load
That's
the
why
ammo.
I don't want to shoot open.
Try not to blow it up.
Fuck, if I shot open, I'd be like, nah, I want to shoot 40. No, this seems like a better idea than dealing with 38 Super or 9 Major, honestly. It really does.
I've watched some guys load 9 Major on a 650, and when you have to put your finger over the case to keep the powder from spilling out of it, it has too much fucking powder.
Yeah, I don't know what the right powder is, but I'm pretty sure it's not tight group.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. So, what do you shoot for a gun, Wiley?
Shadow 2.
Shadow 2. How long did it take you to figure that out?
A long time, like 3 years. I shot Canics, Glocks. Canics just don't work. And then, Shadow 2s because it's easy and you can get parts for it.
Yeah. And so you did you shoot Glocks or Shadow Systems?
I instantly sold, after my first match, sold this Shadow Systems, bought a Glock 34 because that was the gun,
Yeah.
And shot it for a little bit and then went to the Canic steel frames and then Shadow 2s.
Okay. What do you still have the Glock?
I don't. I wish I did. Really bad, actually.
Yeah. Because you can't really get a 34 anymore.
I know. It's gone. I'm going to have to steal the one from my little brother. I got him one, and
Yeah.
34 is a fun gun.
That's my favorite Glock.
It's hands down the best. Like, the 47s are cool, but the 34's just better.
I don't get the whole... I saw a meme on Gun Slaps. It was like the hot chick and the not hot chick, and the not hot chick was the 17 and the hot chick was the 47. Like, if there's... I've shot a 47. You know what it feels like? A Glock. You know what a 17 feels like? A Glock. The only one of any of the ones we're talking about that feel different is a 34.
100%. They all have the exact same recoil impulse, which is violent and snappy, and then the 34.
It's just better. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I also think it's the best looking Glock. Just
Definitely.
aesthetically.
It does look correct.
It does look correct. The 47 is a step in the right direction just because it has that little extension on the slide like the 34. It's just...
Yeah. The circumcised dust cover.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you live in Oklahoma, like born and raised in Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you grow up shooting? Like your dad get you into it, or did you find it on your own?
Typical hunting, like everyone in Oklahoma, shooting deer, birds, that kind of thing. Got a gun after I turned 21, found the T-Rex arm stuff, and then, found USPSA not too long after that.
Okay.
So,
how old are you?
27.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
This is 2 babies in a row we've had on. Good God.
So
Our
funny.
last 2 guests are young enough to have been my own children.
I had no idea that Steven was as old as he was, right? No idea. I would never guess he was
he's far
41.
more childish than a 41-year-old.
100%.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like asking how cool Jesus was. That's not his favorite question.
What?
I figured that out, and I asked him. I was like, "Was Jesus cool?" Like, he's super old.
Okay. No, I didn't get it. Okay.
Yeah.
I will admit that hanging out with Nick and Steven, that someone needs some Jesus, because God, like my face hurt from laughing so hard, but I can't repeat any of the jokes that were made.
Dude, the thing that's those two are like together, they share a brain. When they're together, it's like I can't hardly stand it. I have had very long conversations with each of them separately, and they're like incredibly normal people. As soon as they're together, they're just this weird,
Married couple,
Mr. Hyde version of themselves. Like I ran into him at Area 3, and there was a Nebraska car that was blocking Bay 1, and so, like nobody could get into Bay 1, and the only reason I happened to see Steven and Nick and then a couple other people were nearby. I was like, "Hey, is that your car? There's a Nebraska plate over there blocking the bay. We need to move that." And Nick out of nowhere just goes, he waves his hand at me and he goes, "These are not the Nebraskans you're looking for."
Yes.
And I was really pissed up until then, and then I just started laughing. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is awesome. I don't even know if they're lying to me or not, but that was funny. Turns out it wasn't them. It was someone else, because then I got on the radio and said, all stages, if you have people walking your stages, just tell them the tow trucks have been called, so we're going to start towing from bay 1. And this dude came hauling ass from like 2 bays over to move his car. That was I think my best moment as the match director at Area 3 this year. Anyway,
there's the little things.
There are.
Really,
Got to take the little wins.
I do have to say that while I was mad at Steven for convincing me to do this by asking me if I wanted to do it, he did get us the Airbnb for last night, which was the fucking pro move, because we stopped shooting at 6:30, I think, p.m.
6:15?
6:15?
Yeah.
Whenever astronomical, or what is it? Astrological sundown. When it was completely black, we stopped shooting.
Yes.
well, I'm Googling Oklahoma City sunset for today. Today's sunset was at 5:27 p.m.
Yeah, so that
You
was
shot a
the
long time after that.
Yeah,
Well,
so
that doesn't mean dark. That means the sun is down beyond the horizon.
correct. And so it 6.5 hour drive. If we would have left like at the end of the match, we would have hopefully got home at 1 a.m.
Was this a last minute change of plan?
No, Wiley had basically shamed Steven into
Staying
saying,
another night?
Yeah, we're staying. And so we had a great dinner with Luke and some of the other shooters from our squad. And then we proceeded to drink all of the alcohol.
Oh.
I should have joined you. I went to turn my directions on to go home. Turnpike was shut down. Semi rolled over, dumped everything in it on the turnpike, which is like an hour shorter than any other way to get home. So I had a 3-hour-ish drive to get home last night.
Ooh.
Instead of what would it have normally been?
Hour 30.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
100%. Because we had a couple guys from the squad, and then the 4 of us went back to the Airbnb and drank and drank and drank. I passed out. I didn't feel like I passed out, but I do remember kind of waking up and them telling me that I have sleep apnea, and I just said I was congested. And that's when I went to bed, somewhere around 2, probably. I don't know. There was like 4 clocks in the Airbnb, and all of them were different times. And I was very drunk at that point. Heidi was with us. She one high lady, but she tried to drink just a little too much, just a little. I wrote down, or she wrote down with me, and then we drove back today. Like literally, I got back and sat down, and now we're recording. And she slept most of the way. It was.
We've all been there.
Yeah, it was a rough one. I mean, Nick and Steven. Well, Nick didn't get up till like 10:15, and then it was the place we went for brunch was nice, but the service was slow. Like it took like an hour to get through, and I was like,
well, plus
great.
It's like Sunday morning, like you got the church crowd fucking it up too.
Well, that's what we expected. No, the place was empty. The food was delicious, but there was like 2 other tables, and I was like, maybe this is why there's only 2 other tables.
Yeah. You know what? I have never, as soon as you're telling that story, like, I've never gotten drunk with the Omaha crew before. I've had drinks with the Omaha crew dozens of times, but I've never been invited to an Airbnb with the Omaha crew or stayed up too late drinking. Now, part of that's my fault because I'm old.
Let's take over the Old Fort shootout. Let's do it.
When is that?
It's always like the early major, mini major. So it's usually like March, April.
Oh. That,
in Arkansas. Stevens came to it the last 2 years.
I have a feeling that's still going to be snow season in South Dakota this year, since I was actually out plowing this weekend. So that sounds like an early one for me.
Yeah, Oklahoma's and Arkansas is fine though. Come down to where it's warm.
Yeah. No, I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Area 4. My daughter is going to be going to Baylor next year, so
Nice.
I'm definitely going to be probably picking up a match in the DFW area somewhere.
There's
Here and
a
there.
million.
Yeah.
There's so many matches there.
Yeah. No, that's like my favorite thing about her going to that school is like, oh, I have an excuse to shoot matches in another state, like far away from here. This will be sweet.
Well, and we can plan around it, and then I can actually get you drunk, but you're not going to because you're a tryhard.
Half of our squad was DFW, and they said they can shoot a local within 15 minutes of DFW every weekend of every month.
Oh, like
for
of the
entire
airport?
year. No, of like
Or
the
of the
down,
city,
just of,
yeah.
of the city.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
That's wild. I'm very jealous of that. I'm also kind of glad I don't have that at the same time.
It can burn you out. I remember Stager talking about that with students in the South that would burn themselves out shooting every weekend, and you never have weekends where you're like, I'm practicing this weekend, like that, because there's no match. I'm practicing.
Yeah.
We have that here, so like within an hour we can be at, local just about every weekend. And also we don't have like a built-in off season like you guys do.
Yeah.
Like, for most of the year we can shoot outside.
I am like my CZs have gone into the safe, and they're probably going to stay there until after the first of the year. I don't plan on taking them out for anything. I'm going to be getting the Glock 20 out before I go elk hunting in a couple of weeks, and spending some time with that. I'll shoot my, whatever gun I shoot in my next permit class I got in a couple of weeks, but. My match guns are pretty much, they've been put away for the year. And I basically will have completely checked out of practice or shooting USPSA for the next 2 months. And won't even mess with it. And honestly, I think my off season is going to extend into about February 1 now.
Yep.
And because it's just too far away to start the everyday dry fire January 1st. Yeah. At least at this point in my competitive career, because like I get how to do it now. It was good that I did it starting January 1, going back to like 2019 and 20 when I really started dry firing hard. But I don't need that extra month anymore. So I'm just gonna start February 1 and then I'll dry fire hard until the first night match and then have another season.
So in the 3 years, I've like never taken an off season, and it's the most terrifying thought to me. Like, what if I did all of this just to, I started D class for the record, so
did I.
Came a long way in 3 years, but what if I just like totally forget everything? Like, don't pick up a gun for a month and
you won't.
You don't.
Dumpster.
No, everyone thinks that
you have to remember things. You don't forget anything. You have to remember some things.
It's like riding a bike. Once you've been doing it for several years, you'll just pick the gun back up and it'll be like, oh, okay, we got this. But
that's enlightening.
The one thing couple things I always have to remind myself of is eyes before gun. Like transitions really go in the shitter because you just forget you forget that's how it works.
I feel like that's a constant battle even when I'm dry firing every day.
It is 100%. Going hard, like 100%. At least that's the thing I've gone through where I'm just not, oh, dummy, go faster. You can go faster. Just don't be a pussy about it. Just go faster.
I've also found an opposite problem, or well, not problem, but an opposite benefit of I'm more aggressive when I come back because I forgot how fast I can go, or like where's comfortable. So I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to I'm just going to be aggressive here.
I think that's very temperament based, though.
It is
like
because
that's your temperament.
Me.
Like your default settings, like I'm just going to shoot this shit really fast, and the hits are what they are. Mine is the exact opposite. Like,
you're a turtle.
100%.
So am I.
If it's not beat into me that like I have to go fast, I will shoot 100% alphas and be 50 seconds slower than everyone else.
I was watching Adam Grimm videos after we recorded with him last week, and
right.
It reminded me of a thing I will remind myself. a little story to explain this. So I go to play college football at Black Hill State, and my first week there in pads, I'm like blocking, and all of a sudden this dude just shoves me, and I go flying and land on my back. That never happened in high school. Like, oh, this is different. It's only NAIA ball. It's not like I'm in a D1 school, but still, these fuckers, they're coming way harder than they were before. So it's like that difference in go, like it's just like that next level of go.
Just being able to turn it on,
right?
Like it's just what we do. Like,
and so,
we go
like,
100%.
That's a thing I will constantly remind myself of. Is it's like this is like going to college, you know, like you got to step it up, you know, and so when I start dry firing in the spring, that's what I do is just remind myself of that, like go hard.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I'm a turtle. Like I'll go too slow until I realize, oh, I'm going slow, and I never film myself in dry fire, so at least I haven't in a long time, but.
It's such a hassle. Like, oh, I'm going to set
is.
this camera up and then make sure I'm in frame to where I can actually see what's going on.
But I will probably do hat cam dry fire because that is also useful. I've gotten a lot out of that just in terms of like, am I being aggressive or not?
Yeah, especially if you're saying like eyes first. Like it's pretty easy to pick up in the hat cam when you're not doing that.
Right. Definitely. Okay. So I interrupted you, Jeff. You were still talking about the match. But I wanted us to like find out who Wiley was.
Oh yeah.
So, do you remember where you left off?
Not completely. I mean, one of the things that popped up is because we only had one CRO or one true RO. The one stage where we had a bunch of reshoots. The start position was a 180 trap. Well, there were two. The start position was the 180. That one, because you started with your feet on marks and your hands on the marks, and then you had to immediately go back into the right and activate a stomp pad as you went back. And there were a lot of guys where their hips were probably, we'll call it 179.8, but it was.
You started at like a 45-degree angle.
Yep.
Facing away from the back berm or the like back 180. And so like as soon as you drew the gun, like you're right on the 180.
Yep.
Because you're going back into the right.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. So that one's pretty bad. And then the last one we shot under the lights of the Miata was an unloaded start. But the way to shoot the stage was to immediately run back. And for anyone who's following me on Instagram, it's the one that I posted where you can see the sparks flying out of my gun.
Yeah, that's a cool video. That's the cover, by the way, of this episode.
Yeah, I screenshotted my hat cam from that because it looks crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. But because it was a immediate draw to load the gun while backing up. I'm like, this feels really sketchy. And don't put crazy start positions everywhere randomly. We had multiple reshoots, including one for me, of people not doing hands above shoulders because like every third stage was hands above shoulders, give or take. And so we would forget that, and
that's a nightmare with traveling ROs.
Yeah,
a nightmare.
Yep.
Just wrist below.
Yep, just 2 wrists below. I'll be honest. Everyone that I dealt with down there, other than the guy on the gator, were good people. They were very nice. They're very kind people. I don't want to just go to matches and shit on them. That's not my goal. But it's like I will never go back to this club because this is 2 matches in a row that have just been complete shit shows, and I I just can't justify a 6-hour drive each way for a match that has burned me twice.
The thing that bums me out the most about it is I think a high percentage of the people that were there, that was their first major match. And it's a bummer that people are going to leave there thinking that that's what USPSA is. And it's like, yeah, the stages were good and we had a great time, but it's like, that's not what you should expect when you go to a major.
Yeah, it was a very piss poor performance. Just again, that we were, me and Luke kind of joke that we should all have our match fee refunded down to like a local fee level because we were all our own ROs. So where was the major match for us? Like it was just a really freaking long local match.
Yes.
So again, everyone I met, like everyone I dealt with, I'm gladly, see them in another match, fist bump them, if they're my squad, great. But like that club has just, it's been so bad twice in a row that I will never go back to it.
That's too bad. It sucks when that happens. I guess around here I've never. Jeff, have you ever gone to a bad match around here, like level 2, like level in our 2, region?
Not in our region, no. Like every match, every major match that I have gone to has like. I can have my complaints about them because
sure,
I'm a complainer.
Perfect. Yeah, but whiny bitches. Yeah,
yeah.
Especially when it comes to mock Jesus swingers. Good God, if I hear one more word about that,
so mock Jesus swingers.
Baby.
No more over the top swingers, Andy.
Let's go.
Oh, there's. I'm ordering one of those swingers. There will be one at
Excellent.
Great Plains next year, guaranteed.
The only match that I would compare this one to is the Florida Open I went to in like 2022, I think it was. And that was its own whole shit show. But like I wasn't shooting at night. Like it's hard to compete with how bad this match was as a like I said, my squad was amazing. Luke was fantastic. But to be shooting under the lights of a Miata and my last stage and being on the range for 12 hours, I never want to do that again. Like I will never. I've never run into that level of problem before, and I hope to never run into it again.
Same.
Yeah.
It was a extremely long day.
And not enough benches. That's one thing. Because like half the bays there was just nothing, and by the end of the day my hips were on fire. Like trying to, because we had so many long breaks, trying to like get yourself back into the match almost was frustrating because Luke timed us and we could do the full field course. If we didn't have reshoots, we could do the full field course in, I think 38 minutes was how fast we did Bay 1. So like we could have burned through that bitch, but we kept running into every other squad.
Yeah. Well, part of that was your squad. Like you guys are maniacs. You know, if you're scoring, you know, as you were at this match, like I've seen you, I've been on your squads before. You guys are maniacs the way you score. It's so fast. Like the first time I was amongst you, it was like, holy shit. Like I was having trouble keeping up. Like if you're running the tablet, just shut up and listen.
Yep.
You know, is pretty much what has to happen. So yeah, I could see how you guys got way ahead. At that point, I would have just been like, fuck, walk to every target and score them individually. Like you're not gaining any ground. You know, but
it just feels incorrect. Must be efficient.
I know. Anyway, we lost Wiley. Now Wiley's back.
I'm back.
Okay. I don't know if the little dick-a-dook shows up in the recording or not, but
Sorry,
I heard
guys.
that noise. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a clean feed noise.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened. I lost internet and got kicked and missed a lot of what Jeff said, but okay.
That's okay. I missed it too.
I mean, basically, I was just saying how I will never be back down to that club, and that we score like maniacs was the.
It was honestly impressive. It was some of the best stage resetting I've ever seen.
Isn't it nuts?
It was a World Shoot. Like, did you see those guys at World Shoot that were running out with like the buckets of paint and like painting with a paintbrush the steel?
Yeah.
That's what our entire squad reset like.
No, Jim Boone was telling me about what it was like at World Shoot, and it is, you do not get any extra time. You are, the second the range has cleared after reset, you better be there, make ready.
The guys were saying on like the Hit Factor that they were shooting 6 stages in 2 hours.
Yeah, it was crazy fast.
Insane.
And they had like 3 or 4 schedules a day, something like that.
Four schedules.
Yeah,
4 squads a day would roll through there.
Yeah, but that's the name of the game. If you're going to get that many people in, is the schedule has to allow more people, and the only way to do that is to turn them over faster. And
Insane.
so, yeah, I think that's one thing after Area 3. Wiley, did you shoot Area 3?
I didn't. That was
Okay.
like 13 hours, and I'd already been on a plane a couple times for matches.
No, I totally get it. Like that's a long trip from Oklahoma to Rapid City, but I'd never shot a match with that schedule before. That was Bruce's idea because they'd done it at when Area 1 was in Montana, and I was like, oh, that's really smart. Even staff day is PM AM. Everybody's PM AM, and it's really weird. I remember Tim Dundry saying to me, or I heard him say it. I don't remember if he said it to me or whatever, what the context was, but I just remember him saying it was really weird to not get up in the morning and head straight to the range. You know, because that's what you do.
It's kind of cool, especially in a place where like you want to be there. Like that was kind of a cool thing. I wish I could have made it because like South Dakota is kind of a cool place to go visit.
Well,
and so, like,
Western South Dakota is. My side of the state's kind of boring, but
fair.
I still like it. But like the Black Hills, fucking A, yeah, it's a great place to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was such a great schedule. Like I really, and then it just got me thinking, like, how could you get more people into a match without making it suck more?
Yeah.
That's the trick, is doing it without making it suck more. And if you're doing a match in a place like, say, Rapid City, right next to the Black Hills, or you're doing it in St. George, Utah, right near Zion, like I wish I would have had more time there. But if I shot that,
for Nats to be there,
it will be next year.
I cannot wait.
Yeah. Well, you could have shot CO at Race Gun Nats because the guy who won it did. So
yeah,
Hammer Down Shadow 2, no Magwell.
So gangster.
Yep. But no, if it's in a place like that, like, hey, let's try to shoehorn in another schedule of people. The stages have to accommodate it, but if an area match, that's the thing. Like area matches traditionally are not 3-day events, so you would have to do it in a way that made it feel like you're getting your money's worth, like at a time of year where there's lots of daylight, as opposed to November where there's like not lots of daylight anywhere in the northern hemisphere. Maybe don't do 15, 16 stages, when daylight savings time has already happened.
Everyone should shoot at one stage under the lights of a Miata. Do it for the plot.
So the funny thing is like my club has stadium lights. So when I get off, like it's usually dark by now. And so I'd been practicing underneath it. Still not ideal.
No, not ideal. I hope our club we can get more lights just to light up both sides of walls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like we'd have to add a couple more poles, but just because we've got 2 poles with 1 light shining into each bay, and it'd be better if we could have multiple. We basically need to add a couple more poles.
You do that.
Yeah,
ours have like 1 on either side of the bay, and it's pretty good. Like,
yeah, if you have 1 on both sides,
but
sure. Yeah, if you have 1 on both sides, it would be great. Like because it sure, like after the night match last weekend, when we turned on the lights, once all the shooting was over and we could turn on all the lights, like, oh wow, this seems like a lot of light. But when you're shooting, it's not that much.
No, not much at all.
Yeah. So okay, shooting wise, Wiley, what do you suck at? What's the thing you need to get better at? That you're like, oh, I hate it when I do that.
Faster consistently. So like you were saying like earlier, just like the ability to just be like send it at 100% constantly is not in my wheelhouse currently.
Yeah, wait till you're 48. It gets a lot harder.
I can only imagine. So like when I shoot a good stage, like it's competitive, but it's just forcing myself to go at that pace all the time.
Yeah. That's the one thing I kind of made a breakthrough with this year was like going more full send. I shot like a pussy at nationals though. I watched my videos and I'm like, oh, you were not aggressive at all at nationals. Like
I have
just
shot
not
2
at all.
nationals, and every video that I've watched of myself shooting at nationals, I have the same exact thing. It is embarrassing.
Yeah. No, it was so slow. It was so absolutely maddening to watch when I would see how there were a couple of stages where I was going without
Race gun also looked like everything was so far away. Like
there were some
everything in those
pokes.
bays looked huge.
The bays weren't that if you shot area 3 where all the bays were fucking huge, the bays weren't crazy big, but they were deep. And there were some long shots in there. Like, God, Kevin Isaac, shooting with him, that guy is not afraid to take a long shot on the move, and it was impressive. Like, that's the one thing I am going to work on is, 15 to 20-yard open targets on the move and not hesitating. That was impressive because there was one target he shot at. I mentioned this on the show before, and he texted me afterwards and was like, oh, I heard you talking about me. That was weird. But I walked straight to that target because I'm like, what the fuck did he get on this? Because that was a bold move. And
There's no way he shot alphas.
Oh, he had Alpha Charlie on it. Alpha Close Charlie, in fact. And I was just like, okay, that's the thing I'm not doing. No, I know how it's possible. You practice it, and I don't practice that. And that was the big thing. The only other nationals I shot was low cap. So it was, production, single stack, revolver, the stages. Well, no one shoot. Well, okay. Locals were shooting Lim 10 at that match. But it was such a different match than race gun. Race gun was like, oh, yeah, these are all race guns, and you have to shoot them like they're race guns. So that was when I found out, oh, I shoot more like a pussy than I thought I did.
Nationals will do that to you.
Yeah, it does. It does
I
indeed.
think that's the entire point.
That is the entire point. But, okay. Well, on that note, did you finish it off, Jeff?
I think so.
Did you?
Wiley, did we hit everything in a reasonable fashion?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I appreciate them putting on a match for us to go to, but let's not do anything crazy.
Well then, I guess I'll call it here then. Okay.
All right.
Well, Wiley, nice to meet you. Thanks for joining the show. He is Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson. This is Not Another Shooting Show.